Hi everyone, I'm Zach. This is my channel, Zach of Rivia. That's Z-A-C-H. I also have Twitch and Twitter under the same name. We're streaming several times a week, so come check us out. But today we're just going to be looking at the Skellige starter deck. This is the starter deck that everyone gets. It's unchanged. I just wanted to go take it out and see if the fundamentals would just carry it, even with other people changing up their decks. And I think we'll see it. It's the case. So that's what we're going to talk about. It's kind of the fundamentals of Gwent and how to use those with this deck to advance to a place where we can start upgrading the deck and then climb even higher. But there's 3 numbers in the deck builder you should be aware of when just looking at decks, and that's over here on the top left. It's the number of cards in the deck. 25 is a minimum, and it's also probably the most amount of cards you're going to want in a deck so that you have a better chance of finding your good cards. 22 is the number of units in the deck, which is relevant only that you need minimum of 13. For this deck, 22, it's a lot of units, but we don't have a lot of good special cards we want to run anyway. And then 29 is the leftover provisions that we have to increase the quality of this starter deck. Right now we're going to leave it as is, but obviously with 29 leftover provisions, we could be taking weaker cards and turning them into stronger cards. We'll look at that in the next video. For now, take some time to read over each of these cards and find out what they do before you start playing any games. Everybody's getting Geralt of Rivia. He's a big card. He destroys a unit with 9 or more power, and I think we're going to see there's ways to use the fact that everybody has this card when we start against them. These others have Bloodthirst condition. We talk about that in the video. So we want to make sure we know what that is. And if you click on them, not Dora Gray, but this guy, it's going to say Bloodthirst, number of damaged enemy units required to trigger this ability. So try to read and be aware of those conditions. You'll see those interactions in the video though, so I think that'll be very helpful for you. Okay, so let's launch into it. Okay, we've got our first game here up against monsters, a Carapace deck, and we're going first. I remember when I first started, I thought because you get the tactical advantage that going first was the better thing, but there's a distinct advantage to going second in that you get to respond to your opponent. You don't have to stay ahead. So you can also get card advantage, and we'll talk about what card advantage is as we progress with this. So first thing we're going to talk about actually is mulligans. The basic rule of thumb is mulligan your weaker cards to try to find your better cards. We definitely want an engine. We're going to mulligan the villager because she's going to get better later. We want the removal, but I think 2 may be more than we need. Okay. So these guys are good because, sorry, these great swords are good because they grow. So they're nice little engines, but we don't have enough damage cards like these guys to make them probably go all the way to 10. So it may be a little awkward with them. Carapace doesn't, well, okay, we're not really sure what they're running with Carapace, so let's start with this guy. He's technically what we call an engine. He's going to create value over time. Every time we play a warrior, we're going to get extra points from him. So we try to get our engines down first, and then we'll see if the opponent answers it. Answering an engine just means killing it, locking it, in some way impeding it from doing its job. These guys are technically engines because they create value over time, though it's a limited value. It's not like this guy as long as you, well, I guess it's limited as well. You're limited to how many warriors you get. Okay. Interesting. So right out the gate, we've got that guy. He's a Thrive unit. He's going to boost every time he plays a taller unit. And since this is kind of early in the game, I'm not sure he's going to have a ton of tall units. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take our boosts. Because really, we don't have a ton we need to protect. We don't have any other engines. You don't boost these guys because part of their whole shtick is that they start off damaged and heal themselves. This guy's going to ping automatically damage himself 1 and take that and damage the opponent 1. Okay. So he's played an engine himself. I think we're just going to go ahead and get another one of our engines down. And we are currently row stacking. We're going to just feed him another point because he's damaging himself, but he's also pinging over there as well. So as he pings, we get a boost on our greatsword. So now we're getting 2 points per turn. 1 point, 1 point. So we're already generating value. It's going to be hard for the opponent to keep up if they don't do something a little stronger than this. This is what we call a low tempo play. Because it's an engine that's supposed to boost with dominance, and I had dominance, made it a little bit hard for him because he's just got a 3-point play. That's a low tempo play. It means he's not going to try to contest this round. Of course, you know, I think newer players probably aren't thinking that way too much. Okay. So he boosts that because he doesn't have a choice. He can't touch this immune unit. I don't know how deep we're going into this round. I feel like this guy might pass earlier than later. So we don't want to commit a ton. Guess we'll do this. And we're going to continue to hold our TA. One thing about these starter deck level other players is pretty much everybody has Geralt of Rivia. So Geralt does, he instantly kills when he hits the board a unit that's 9 strength or above. So we're going to try and keep our ceiling a little bit below that. Now obviously we got a great sword which could be killed by Geralt. That's okay. So we've got 2 units that are going to be a little bit vulnerable to Geralt. We did in fact win the round. He passed and then we passed again. We passed back, rather. Let's see. Not sure if we'll get the value from this, but if he plays something like Indraga Larva, we could kill them with that. But we probably want to get 4 units on the same row. So we'll see. We'll keep it. I think we're going to keep the hand. Yeah, we'll just keep it. Okay. So, just like last time, we're going to put down the engine, and we're going to commence to bleeding a little bit. We're going to see how it goes. With monsters, you don't always want to bleed. So we may just play a card. If he answers this, we may play something else and then pass. Okay. Neckers are Thrive units. So just like the werewolf, you play a bigger unit and he gets points. Set up the same engine. Now, if this were higher rank, I probably would not be bleeding monsters. But at this time, I think I want to go ahead and push a little bit. Okay, he kills that. So we're at 7 cards. Now this is the time to decide if you want to keep pushing in or get your last say. I don't know what he's waiting for. In situations where you think that they're going to have more tempo than you, they're going to be able to stay ahead of you and make you lose your card advantage. And card advantage simply means that I'm down a card now because that's what I had to do to win because I went first. If I pass now, we'll be on equal cards. He'll have to play first and I'll get last say in the game, which means I'm playing the last card, which means something like Skellige, who is weak to a 5-point damage thing, can be played last and be safe, something like that. So let's go ahead and take that last save in the long round. Now I do lose some value having played this engine. So there is something to be said about not playing any cards at all, but you know, he also lost some value here. So it's kind of an even trade with the 4, and he killed the Great Sword, so we'll see what else he plays. Now, I ranked up a little bit before this because we met with a few opponents that didn't have the passing thing down too well, and I didn't want to show any games where that was the case. Maybe, you know, some stronger opponents who have figured out a few of these little mechanics better. Thrive certainly is going to be fairly strong to play against here. Let's see. So our veteran cards now are stronger. So that's why the long round 3 is a little bit better for us. We'd love to see Geralt. We'd love to see Madman Lugos or a boat, stuff like that. So we're going to mulligan this bronze. These guys are great. They're playing for 8 points. This is 7. Lock's probably great. This guy's 7. But he's individual ping damage, so I think this might be our weakest card still. And we trade it for itself, so no big deal. We miss 2 good golds, but that's what happens with these starter decks. They don't have consistency cards, and we'll talk about those when we're doing the deck upgrade. So this guy is a thinning card. He's going to, in theory, consume this card, and then another one will jump out of the deck, thinning the deck so that later in the game he would have an easier time drawing his good stuff. Unfortunately, he got it for round 3, so now it's just playing as, you know, a standard card. It's beautiful, premium, though I think my video is in front of it. So we're gonna get an engine down here. Pop that guy. We now have 0 cards that are weak to Geralt because he killed both the Great Swords, except for Skjall. So Skjall's gonna be our last play, knowing that a lot of these decks run Geralt of Rivia. This good sir. Oh, okay, so he's not going to use a consume, so he's losing the 3 points by using a Griffin. Not ideal. This guy really goes better with decks that have little 1s and stuff out there, like little rats and things. We'll get into that with monsters. So we're going to get this guy on the board. He's going to present a little bit of a threat with some ping damage. These 2 points plus this gives us 6 points of removal if we need to kill something. So we might float it a bit. Floating it just means we're not taking it immediately. Okay. So that's an engine. We're going to ping this guy, reduces dominance, and okay, we still got 4 damage with him if we get Bloodthirst 2. Let's kill this engine, and let's talk about what Bloodthirst is as a keyword. It simply means a condition where we see multiple units on the board. All right, that's Bloodthirst 1. If this guy was red, it'd be Bloodthirst 2. And then his condition would be met, so he gets 4 damage instead of 2. So we're looking at these Bloodthirst 2. We gain Zeal, which means that I don't have to wait a turn to use his order ability. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, he's going to protect that engine. That's smart. It's a very smart move there. He's given it Veil as well, which means our lock's not doing anything here. And he's currently got dominance. So there's not currently anything we can do about it right away. We can float the ping damage still, so we'd have 2 ping damages and this. Next turn we could kill it. So we're just going to do that for now. He's going to get his 2 points off that Nilfgaard. So we'll just float over here so you can see that. Basically, dominance means he's got the tallest unit, or tied for the tallest unit. Alright, gets his riders out. He doesn't protect his Nilfgaard. He doesn't take his ping, so this is a new player mistake, forgetting to take your ping. You get that ping every turn, so not using it is just a total waste. I don't know that he thought he was going to be facing removal, but we're going to take our 2-point pings and combine it with this 4-point ping to remove that engine. It's as easy as that. Of course, yeah, we can't count on the opponent not playing their cards. And this starter deck, like I pointed out, has a lot of provisions missing. They're not used. So this is not an optimal list. This is not going to work forever. So I wanted to go ahead and get these 3 games recorded and show them before getting too much farther down where people start adding good cards to their deck. Okay, so he's trying to deny Bloodthirst is what we'd call that. Ideally these pings, these 3-point charges are going to be better used to protect engines, but he may not have any more engines to protect. So he's gone full leader. I don't have to use my leader until last say if I don't want to. So I'm going to just wait. Hopefully he stacks back row again. We get at least 8 points from surrender. You don't want this to be less than an 8-point card, but 6 is better than 4, I guess. Really throwing out the intelligent and analysis here. Okay, so he's consuming a great sword. That's a really good play for him. We're just gonna throw this down. We'll just take our pings for Bloodthirst. Since we don't really have more removal, there's probably no reason not to take this ping, but yeah. We'll just do that. So you see why drawing Geralt would have been great. And another weakness of a starter deck like this is if you don't have your consistency in this deck, like you don't have thinning tools like Monster seems to have. Okay, he's denying more Bloodthirst. It doesn't really make a difference to us because we don't have any more cards that are dependent on that. We're not going to see an engine, so he may be waiting on a Lacerate or something as well, but we can no longer prevent him getting value from that. See what else he got. We're trailing a little bit, but we haven't used leader. We're also going to combine our leader with surrender to get the full value out of it. When we talk about this leader, it puts down an 11-point body onto the board. Missed it. What did he do? Okay. Did he play it? Or did he just discard it? I guess he just discarded. Okay. So now we're facing a dilemma. It's that last card is Geralt. Alright, well I think we'd rather lose the... We'll just take that, yeah. We'll take the loss there. I'm betting it's Geralt. So at some point you gotta take risks. Alright, if it's bricked Geralt, that's probably why he forfeited. Or, yeah. So we were coming down with 10 plus another, what, 8? Yeah. From leader, that's a pretty good amount of points that we were coming down with soon.
Crush those vermin!
With a pincer maneuver deck. Pretty interesting. Alright. This time we've got our Geralt. We've got both boats. Got 2 of these guys, so we probably don't want both of these guys. He's not a warrior himself, so he doesn't proc the other guy. 5 warriors. It's not bad, but I'd probably rather not have her yet, since she just plays for 5. Okay, Raider's good. We traded a warrior for a better warrior. Okay, opening with siege on blue coin. This is kind of a throw. We have the option here to slow play and get out of the round because he spent his best card. Or we could play into this just a little bit and see. Or we could punish. We could punish this with Geralt and then try and get ahead and win on even. But this is a scenario, which means it's going to play these extra cards as it progresses. So a lot of stuff's going to happen. It's going to represent a lot of points as he plays. So there's something to be said for slow playing and just giving him the round because he's blue coin. But yeah, somebody's been upgrading the deck, which is what we kind of anticipated seeing as we progressed. Okay. We're not playing back row because this guy shoots only ranged, and so unless he puts another one down, unless he crews it, then it's only going to hit the back row. So it's an engine that's not getting any value. Let's just take this. It's cheap, it removes 2 points of his, so it played for 5 points of damage plus 3, so 8 point card for 4 provisions. You're always thinking about how much value you're getting out of a card. Okay, does that clear my board? 3, yeah, clears it, so he's not getting any value out of that. And really at this point we only need to play 1 more card and then we can just leave. So what card do we not value very much? I'd say this other guy. Probably. Or we could deny his value. Let's just do that. So at this point, we haven't committed anything, and he's committed one of his most expensive cards. Okay, playing a frigate too. That's a very good card. And he's played it very awkwardly because you want to have this card have some space, develop it early, and then it builds these volunteers out along the row. But you need to have soldiers next to it. So in order to make it work, you'd need to put 2 soldiers there, and then he'd only have like 3 more spots to generate more soldiers. So he's basically throwing that card away. And I think we're giving it to him. When we go into the next round, he's down a card, so if he's bleeding, he's at a little bit of a disadvantage, and given also that he's given up a good card, it should be a little more difficult for him. There is also the problem that we are running the starter deck. He's obviously upgraded his, so we could still lose just because starter deck. However, we will be doing the upgrade video next after these games to talk about how to make the starter deck just a little bit better. Actually, a lot better. Don't want that guy anymore. Okay, so we got engines. Siege Tower does generate a little extra value, but it's more just like, okay. Yeah. Cool. They must have changed that card since I last even saw it. Let's just develop our own little ship here, a little engine. Yeah, man, I haven't seen these guys in forever. Okay. We're going to be playing front row knowing that trebuchets are a thing. And currently, if he played a trebuchet, we don't really have an answer at the moment. So his leader is consistency, and that's good. His leader, it's good for him. His leader will help him find the cards he needs, he wants. Okay. So now he's losing value with that. However, his leader also only represents about 4 points with these 2 volunteers that go bop bop. So 4-point leader. 8-point leader. 8-point that also has 3 bloodthirst, which helps my cards be better. Okay, now I was going to kill this, but that might be a more tempting target. Let's actually get another one of our guys down here. Let's float that thing. So we got 3 engines on the board. He's only got the 1. Okay. So he's up by a fair amount. Let's kill this trebuchet so that we can play back row. Boost that up to 6 to get it out of standard removal range, and now we're only down by 3. We still got engines, 3 engines. These aren't passive engines. You have to do something. He has to play a card that can take damage, or I have to play a warrior to get value out of him. Okay, he's stacking back row, which is just delightful. This is also going to strip the armor off that, so that's as good as dead. So we can just kind of let him continue to play value cards, and meanwhile, this is not a warrior, by the way, and meanwhile, we're just sitting back and waiting. So as soon as he's ready to stop bleeding himself, we'll just kill him. Geralt's not looking hot, but we're not going to have to use him, so we might just mulligan him next round. Okay. Not bad. Alright, this goes through the row and damages everything by 2 and removes the armor. That means that guy's instantly dead. But we don't want to damage anything below 2. So we're going to damage him. That gives us Bloodthirst 3. Not that it matters too much because we've met the 2 condition. We're just going to take our pings for the value. And I think we just go ahead and do this. So now he's going to lose his card. If he's smart, he passes, just goes on to the next round. Okay, so a 6-point play. It's not enough tempo to even get him back ahead. We still got Bloodthirst 2, so we just go ahead and play this right here. We take our boosties. Alright, Yeah, no, okay. So he should not play this card if he can't get ahead, which he can't get ahead. So, okay. This is the very problem. Okay. That's not going to get you ahead either. This is the problem with the lower ranks is, you know, understanding that you don't play your cards if you can't win the round. Once he couldn't win, he needed to pass and save that card. I mean, it was bad for him to begin with, but the fact that I am 2 cards up going into this last round and he has no leader basically means the game's over. So just simply understanding when to pass should get you the first 5 ranks easy. These are fine. Geralt's probably a brick, but even if he's not, we still win. So it doesn't matter. So we gotta play first. Let's go ahead and get our engine on the board. We can just jam cards now and it's over. Yeah, you could even just skip because at this point the guy's completely thrown the game.
What is it?
And stacking back row was a mistake. But playing that last card after going down in points so far, yeah, not so good. Okay. Okay. So he just misplayed this card because this card needs to be played melee to boost an allied unit by 4. So because he played it ranged and he doesn't have 4 units, he only got 1 boost. So yeah. We gotta read our cards. And obviously I'm assuming at this point you've read your cards in your deck builder. I will still explain some of them, but yeah. So we'll just drop this in turn and pass. No need to do what we call BMing, which I just assume stands for bowel movement. But yeah, no need to BM the opponents when they lose. It's a learning experience for everybody. And that's why we're making the video, so that we understand. And we're learning from their mistakes too. So we've seen an upgraded deck come against us, and because we knew better fundamentals, it doesn't matter what you've upgraded, the fundamentals win. Of course, at some point, you know, at a higher rank, it's just this deck could not possibly win without being changed entirely. I love these guys. I think they're great value engines. So I'd rather have them as 4P cards, 4 provision cards, than this guy. So we'll combine these 3 engines these 4 engines to basically take the round. We've got some good golds. We're pretty happy. You don't always have to take all your mulligans. It's probably a good idea to cycle your deck, but if you already have, you know, some of your best golds, then you don't necessarily need to take your mulligans. Let's see. So Nilfgaard's great about answering engines. Last game, we set an engine down, it lived. First, the game before that, set an engine down, it lived. This game should be different. This game we should be finding that he's answering our engines with units that kill him, units that lock him, that kind of stuff. But you never know. Okay, he could also start playing some of his own engines. Hopefully he knows how they work. We're going to play Great Sword. And I'm going to split up the rows because there's a card called Treason that just kills the adjacent units on either side of a card. So if this guy gets all tall and he wants to kill like things that are next to it, it could be an issue. We're not going to take our TA. We'd rather him kill engines than try to protect it with this and then lose its value. So we're just going to wait till later in the round. Alright, that's a big engine. That's a really, really big engine. We're going to do this now. Now we held the ping. That was an accident. I was talking and forgot. I'm not gonna lie about that. Okay, he does decide to do a lock finally. That's fine. Okay. I think we answer in kind. We're gonna lock this nasty little engine here. It's a 2-point per turn with Assimilate. Now he's played 2 Assimilate engines, but hasn't played any cards that actually trigger Assimilate. Now there's one. There's one. So he just missed out on 2 points. Oh, he got lucky though. He got lucky there. We will give him that. So let's see. We have no way to kill it yet. We don't have our Bloodthirst 3, and this actually has Bloodthirst 2. Sorry, Bloodthirst 2. Bloodthirst 2 is 6 damage, so I'd really love to be able to get some damage on the board. So we're going to set this guy down. He's going to get hit. We're going to give him the boost because he doesn't go up to 9. Hopefully that also lets him live and keep his pings. Notice we're staying well ahead because we are blue coin. We don't want them to pass us, but we're hitting this threshold. Now this 5-card mark, that if we go further than that and they were ahead of us, we would lose on even but not have a chance to okay, it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, if you pass on 5 cards and you're losing on even, you both go back up to 8 cards. So the opponent can't pass instantly and make you go down 2 cards because you only go up to 10. So, I don't know, it's hard to make a ton of sense right out of the bat, right out of the gate, to someone who's never kind of played the game before. But just pay attention to these cards, these numbers on the sides, because card advantage is one of the key components of the game. Being down a card is a huge disadvantage. Now, we do bleed down a card a lot of the time because we're trying to reduce the value of their cards. Let's see if this engine gets answered. If it does, we might consider just going for the long round. Having last say. So if we drew Geralt, well, okay, I'm thinking in terms of his leader. His leader is double cross. That means that he's going to get to look at 3 cards from our deck, from our hand rather, and play one of them. Double cross often is used in like a long round 3 or in a defense of a bleed, just to grab the best stuff that you have, because you're usually waiting to play that till last. Okay. Okay. So bleeding the leader out of him is not a bad idea. We're just going to go ahead and get some value down on the board. But say he took this Skjall with his double-cross leader. Okay. Okay, we got no good answer to this poison at the moment. Whatever we put down gets poisoned next, and this would still be alive, so we'd lose it. Yeah, this guy needs to wait a turn for order. We do have a pass here.
You waste my time.
I think we're going to take it, because he has to play a card. These poisons do kind of put us at a disadvantage points-wise. he has the opportunity of getting a lot of value out of a fangs or something else with poison, so our bleed kind of becomes compromised. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Got that out of the way. Now we have a card called the Villager that we've looked at a couple times here. She would have been great. She has this Veil status, which basically means that she can't get poisoned. She can't get locked, but it's not relevant to her since she's not an engine, but... Okay. We got some pretty nice cards. This is probably one of the weakest, but we want it for removal. So we will... Okay. Well, at least it's good against poison, right? We were kind of hoping for Geralt. But again, out of 9 cards, probably should have assumed it was not going to happen. Okay. I don't think this deck runs the spies that copy units, but if it did, this would be a dangerous play. So we're going to play it anyway just to see, but it means that he could copy boats. Him having boats is bad. I only get 1 boat, but if he has ways to copy it multiple times, we'd be in trouble. Okay. So he's got 2 engines on the board. We've got 1. These will grow when he plays the cards that proc them. Let's see. Let's get our raider down. Have some damage floating. Okay, he's going to play something from my graveyard. And there's some good choices there. This raider being probably the best. Ah, he goes for his own boat. Not a bad choice. Okay, so we don't like that engine. We don't want him to have that engine. We don't really want him to have a ton of engines anyway, but we don't want him to have this one. So we're going to kill it. We're going to float this ping for now. Yeah. We're going to probably try to get this guy down. Udalric on Brokvar. Interesting. We won't have the Bloodthirst condition for him, but if he lives, we can use him to get some Bloodthirst on the board. Okay. That probably needs to die. I mean, I don't think it's going to get boosted any more than that. We're going to not stack, because if he finds surrender, we want it to be a bad option for him. Okay, he's got his runestone. That gives him the option to play 3 random bronze cards from his faction, Nilfgaard bronzes. Okay. Ooh, so he's going to deal 4 damage to this, bring it down to a 1. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. I think it may be a good time to take this surrender, because we could kill this in the process. And then damage that a couple times. We'll float that ping. See if this boat gets any more value before it dies. So the reason we're floating this ping is because taking it there doesn't do a ton for us. Okay. Okay. So he just gave us Bloodthirst 2. So we'll take the damage here just to remove that engine, I believe. And then we'll remove the boat. Nice. So we got full value out of Donar by killing an engine. It's awesome value. And then we killed the boat. We did take a hit in order to do that, because if I killed it first, Donar would not have had the 4 damage. I guess we could have killed this engine, but I'd rather do the 4 damage. We traded a point. So I guess he played for 8 instead of 9. Not the worst. Okay, so there's the card Treason that we talked about earlier. It only played for 4 points, which is a huge loss of value. Not what you want to see. Okay. So he probably should go for this guy. Lugos. Madman Lugos. It's going to damage twice the amount of damaged enemies. Yeah, so it's going to play for a 6. Not terrific for him. But Skellige would have just gotten absolutely slapped by me. Just play this. So now we're just kind of waiting for our last say. Okay, so he gets a bad surrender. Only a 4-point surrender. Makes you kind of sad, huh? Okay. Right now there's nothing to remove, so I think we're just going to play this for the 6 points instead of risking the skill or the leader, because the leader body's 11. So if this is a Geralt of Rivia, he's bricked. And so for these first several ranks, you're going to keep bricking Geralt. That's your goal in life. Now, you don't mind if they play Geralt round 1. You might even play Geralt round 1 yourself just to avoid this kind of situation where he gets bricked. So hopefully that was helpful. Next thing we'll do is we'll talk about upgrading this deck. But I think we're going to put that in a separate video because we're already at 50 minutes. So thank you for joining. Again, check me out on Twitch. I'm streaming slightly irregularly until we get to the summer, but it's been fun so far. We're having a blast. So we'll see you next time.